Disclaimer: this man's libido is in healthy functioning levels. Further questioning on the matter is not required. Thank you.
Coming at you live from Skeleton City. We are back again with another Q&A. I got lots and lots of questions to answer, so let's just jump right into it. My dad looked like that before he died from cancer. Is that healthy? You know what? Rest in peace to your dad. I'm very sorry to hear that. Is it healthy? I mean, no disrespect to your father, but I don't think he had very much energy. I don't think he could run a mile or ride a bicycle or have lots of cardiovascular strength. So while I may look like what your father looked like when he had cancer, I'm certainly healthier. What juicer do you use to make your celery juice? I use an Omega juicer that I got for $30 off OfferUp. I would say juicers and treadmills are like the number one things that you can always buy them secondhand for dirt cheap, because people buy juicers brand new, they buy treadmills, they use them 2-3 times, and then they never use them again. They want them out of their house. So check Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp if you want a juicer, and I would not spend more than $50 tops. You are my new favorite YouTuber. Awesome personality, awesome content. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that. I would love to see exactly what you eat in one day. We're planning on doing some what I eat in a day videos, so stay tuned. I'm trying to lose 40 pounds. Should I track my calories? No, you should not track your calories. You should get in tune with your body's compass, and that is your energy levels and the scale. If you have great energy and the scale's dropping, then you're perfectly calibrated on the way to Skeleton City. If you have great energy and the scale's stalling, or even worse, the scale's creeping up, then you need to adjust your food, you need to adjust what you're eating and the amount of food you're eating. But if you're always using the compass, then you'll never have to track calories again. Seeing your Strava ride for that 100 miles is so disheartening. I've been riding for 4 years a lot. I wouldn't even be able to hold a 15 mile per hour average with even just 1,000 feet of climbing. I am pretty lean and not too old, 38. Don't know WTF I'm doing wrong. I have been riding a long time. Even when I was fat, I was still riding a lot, so I was still building up my VO2 max. So really, it's just repetition. You got to ride day in, day out, and build that aerobic fitness, and that's really just going to take time. Also, make sure that you don't bonk and you have enough sugar, usually 50 to 100 grams of sugar per hour to keep you going. That's very important too. But yeah, man, really, it honestly just takes time. Refreshing to have someone to watch about diet that doesn't spend the whole time trashing others. Keep up the great work. I'm rooting for your success. And that's the thing, I really don't care. If you want to do keto or carnivore, or you have a different variation of the sugar diet where you eat certain things, I'm just here to share what worked for me. And that doesn't mean everybody else has to do that. How does the saying go? There's more than one way to skin a cat or whatever. My way isn't the only way to lose weight, but I found it to be the best way for me. And that's all I can really share. And if somebody else has a different way and they want to do that, I'm not going to trash them. More power to you. What kind of juice you drink? Fresh squeezed, bottled? Both. I don't normally do fresh squeezed juice just because it's a lot of time and a lot of money. So mainly I just do these frozen apple juice, orange juice concentrates from Walmart because they're $1.20. They're super cheap. But yeah, the reality is any juice bottled off the shelf, frozen, fresh, any juice you can get, that's the best juice to drink. You're definitely shredded. Have you considered entering a bodybuilding competition? I'm sure if there's any like real bodybuilders or people that are super into building muscle, they're probably laughing at that comment. No, I have not considered entering a bodybuilding competition. Obviously, I don't have very much muscle. Maybe this guy was joking. I don't think he was joking, but maybe you're making fun of me and you're joking. I don't have that much muscle. I don't really care to have that much muscle. I'm an endurance athlete, but I do have very low body fat. So I bet if I focused all my energy from endurance sports into bodybuilding or muscle building or whatever, I'd probably do pretty well. That's just my amateur opinion though. I did 4 days sugar fasting, mostly orange juice plus canned pineapple and peaches. I ate enough like I wasn't hungry, but my sleep started to suck. What could be the issue? Number one, were you on caffeine? Because caffeine raises cortisol that can really disrupt your sleep. Number two, how long have you been on the diet for? Could be a grace period that you need to, get acclimated if you came from a crazy diet before. And number three, anytime my sleep sucks, it's because I didn't eat enough. That's why I always have some Snapple next to the bed just in case. It's been a while since I've had to drink a Snapple in the middle of the night. I think I've really just honed in on the perfect amount of sugar to have before bed. And that just comes with practice and time. I would say if you had trash sleep, it's probably because you just didn't eat enough for dinner. So maybe just try and get a few more calories in. Do women lose weight with this way of eating? I'm in menopause. Well, my wife has lost over 50 pounds. She's not in menopause, but she is a woman and she did lose a lot of weight. So So it definitely works for women. And Cole Robinson always talks that his number one clientele are menopausal women. So seems to be working for all them. And it definitely worked for my wife. Do you need vitamins for this way of eating? I would say most people, if they're using the skeleton pyramid, they're probably hopping back between tiers 1 and 3 and probably sometimes tiers 4 too. So I don't know what vitamins you're talking about. There's tons of vitamins in fresh fruit and vegetables, so you're getting tons there. If you're talking about like certain B vitamins that you can only get from lean protein, most people are jumping back into tier 3 or 4. They're going to end up getting those vitamins. But if you're nervous or worried about it, you could always just take a multivitamin and be done with it. Thoughts on dried fruits and frozen fruits? Dried fruits are good. If you have weight to lose, though, I'd really focus on the high water, the wet fruit, as Cole says. That's going to get you a lot better results than dried fruit. But dried fruit is very good as a snack, especially if you're on the go. And then as far as frozen fruit, I treat that, honestly, basically like fresh fruit. I eat frozen fruit all the time. Nothing wrong with that. Can you have bananas as part of the fruits or more watery fruits only? So kind of like what I just said, watery fruits are definitely better. Bananas are fine. I just ate 5 bananas yesterday. Bananas do contain a little more starch, and they're just not as voluminous as like watermelon, oranges, berries, things like that. So you'll have to mess around with that. If the scale's dropping and you eat tons of bananas, then keep with it. But if the scale's stalled for you, I would probably stick to more watery fruits. Literally on death's door. You know, no shade to Eugenia Cooney, but my wife showed me this crazy video of Eugenia Cooney from recently. I guess she was doing a live the other day, and they think she had like a mini stroke in the live. I think the video went viral, so you can go check it out. If you literally think I'm on death's door, like, I mean, look at me. I ran 4 miles this morning. I rode for 45 minutes. Now I'm doing this Q&A. I have tons of energy. I personally think I have a very bright, energetic glow to me. I mean, if you think that's literally death's door, you should go check out that Eugenia Cooney. Again, no shade to Eugenia Cooney, but when I watched that, that's actually what I thought. I was like, dude, this chick is actually like literally on death's door. So check that video out and then come back. And if you have some honor, maybe write me and tell me you were exaggerating a little bit. Sugar diet? That's the standard American diet. Most people are on that now. Is this a joke? Most people are eating 15, 10, 5 grams of fat a day on the standard American diet. Because that's news to me. I did not know that. Hey, I've seen all your videos and I've been a longtime follower of Cole. I'm not sure if this came up. Are beans and legumes typically included in this diet? So beans and legumes are in tier 3 of the skeleton pyramid. There's just more protein in them. So if you're really wanting the fastest weight loss, I would hold the beans and legumes. Or if you are going to have them, just really try and have small amounts of them. You're really just trying to focus on like fruit, juice, sugar, those sorts of foods instead of beans. Do you feel like you recover well from your bike rides/runs without any protein during sugar fasting? I feel like I recover 10 out of 10. I've told you guys before I use the Normatec boots and the Theragun. I use that. That's good for recovery. Obviously sleep. I'm always getting at least 8 hours, usually 8.5 hours of sleep every night. And yeah, I'm having like basically no protein and it hasn't been an issue at all. This week I've ridden Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today's Thursday. I ran Monday and I ran Thursday as well. I feel great, feel totally recovered. Eating this way has had no negative effects to my recovery whatsoever. Sounds like you do a lot of cardio. 1,800 calories burned cycling? Wow, massive calorie deficit. I actually caught this chick calling me the A word. Somebody sent a comment she left on somebody else's video saying that I'm starving myself and I'm the A word, etc. Massive calorie deficit? I don't know. I don't even count my calories. It doesn't matter to me. I eat enough. These people get so hung up on calories and how many calories you're eating, how many calories you're burning. It doesn't matter. Use their body's compass. Do you have great energy? I always have great energy. I'm always drug-free, and I make sure the scale's either maintaining or dropping. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. Am I in a massive deficit? I don't know. I also honestly don't really care. What are your favorite vegetables? I gained eating green vegetables and the non-starchy type. Maybe they are high in protein, and I was relying on them for the main source of my calories. So my favorite vegetables every night, bok choy, cherry tomatoes, mushrooms, zucchini, cucumber, and like an organic salad mix from Costco. But that's not the bulk of my meals. Majority of my calories are coming from fruit, juice, sugar, and vegetables are something I use at the end of the night just to have like a salty, savory, different sort of vibe than more sugar. If you're stalled on that or you're gaining weight eating that way, take them out and see what happens. For me, that works well. I don't go crazy overboard on the vegetables or anything. I'm also not sedentary, so I may need more salt than the average person. I don't know. So vegetables are like a must for me. But yeah, like I said, if you're stalled, take them out and see if that lifts the stall. I think the sugar diet is blowing up because so many people are overweight and or obese, and their doctors want to put them on meds. Last I read, obesity was like at 40% of the population in the United States, and that was a while ago. Yeah, I actually looked that up recently because I was wondering what the percentage is, and I think it was like basically 70% is either overweight or obese. So at this point, it's the large majority of America and most first world countries that are obese or overweight. And yeah, I think that's why it's blowing up. People want a way to lose weight that's not miserable, you know? Counting calories? Counting calories doesn't work. My own mother does Weight Watchers. She's still doing Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers doesn't work. It works for so long until it doesn't anymore. Whereas when you're eating this way, it's still a form of restriction because you're restricting protein and fat, but it doesn't feel as restrictive as Weight Watchers when you only get 20 points or however many points you get, and then you blow them all in one meal, and then you have to be starving for the rest of the day. People are looking for a different way that's not miserable, and in all the things I've researched or tried over the years trying to lose weight, I've never come across anything that's been this easy to lose weight. So I think that's the big reason on why it's blowing up. Do you have to go to the bathroom a lot? Number 2. I go number 2 like clockwork every single morning, and then maybe generally 1 to 2 times throughout the rest of the day. But if you're brand new to this, I do have to say that when I was brand new to this, there was a lot more like diarrhea, and there was a lot more, fecal urgency, if we'll call it. At the beginning. Now I feel like I'm at the end of my weight loss journey, and like I think I've cleared most of like the toxins, if that's what we're going to call them, the toxins in the fat cells. I feel like I've cleared most of it out, so I'm pretty regular on the bowel movements these days. But at the beginning, for sure, it was definitely a lot more frequent, so that's totally normal. I don't think you are too thin. You look just fine for your build. Why people always have to find fault? Let us look at what they look like. I will say, the picture on the left compared to you talking in this video, wow, what a transformation. You look so much healthier. Thank you, I appreciate that. And yeah, I personally think I look a lot healthier too, but I feel so much healthier. A lot of people always say like, you look better before, but I felt absolute garbage before. And yeah, all these people that say that, they never have profile pics. And that's why I looked up the overweight obese percentage, because I was just wondering how many people actually look like me. It's well under 10% that actually look like me. And that's why it's just kind of shocking. You know, it's like they're not used to how I look and they just don't like it. They don't like things that are different.
I'll be honest with you. I don't like people who are different.
And they treat me more poorly because of it. So that's why I started up the skinny acceptance movement. We're running strong with that, trying to normalize being skinny again. How much protein would you recommend? About 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. Also, from my understanding, it's best to avoid any other macros until dinner. Could you elaborate on those 2 topics, please? So as far as protein, I'm assuming you have weight to lose. It's basically as little as you can go. As least amount of protein as you can have, that's the best amount of protein. And as far as avoiding other macros, I know Cole says if you're gonna have like a cheat meal, put it at the beginning of your day because your metabolism's hotter and you'll like end up burning that off. That could be true. I mean, you can experiment with that. For me, anytime I'm gonna have a heavier meal and have the mixed macros, I always put it at the end of the day. Not only for digestion, because you don't really want to be sending fast digesting fruit down. You eat like an omelet and a breakfast burrito, and then you send some like watermelon or oranges down for lunch. That could cause indigestion. So my thinking was always put the heavier meal at the end of the day, and that will help you digestion wise, but mess around with where you're going to put the mixed macros and see what the scale says ultimately. I've never tried it in the morning, so I can't say from personal experience, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. Actually, less sugar crash than anticipated. Avoiding the fats and protein somehow helps. However, I really get hungry without fat and protein. Does the fruit really keep you full? So if you're getting really hungry, well, first off, eat more, obviously. Eat more volume, but that's where the hard-hitting sugars, that's where they come in, you know? Add some sugar, add some syrup, eat some candy after the fruit. And especially if you're eating fruit that's not super sweet or super ripe, that could go through you really quick. So that's when I would say up the calories, add the sugar, things like that. Otherwise, if you're gonna eat every, 2 hours or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that either. Sometimes I just eat a small meal and then, in an hour and a half, I'd eat another small meal. I just go with the flow day by day. There's not like a specific, I only eat 3 meals a day and they're all like a similar large volume. You kind of just have to figure out what's going to work for you. But yeah, definitely up the volume, up the sugar, and up the calories. Is this diet of rice, fruit, sugar, and juice still good if I add lean fish twice a week? So basically you're saying you're like tier 2 all week, and then 2 days you go tier 3 and add a little bit of fish. You know, that could work. Me and my wife got the fastest results being strict tier 1. So fruit, juice, sugar, and vegetables. Like I said, if your energy's good and the scale's dropping, that's the way to Skeleton City. So mess around with it, keep an eye on your body's compass, and go from there. This channel is going to be huge. Dude, it's actually crazy. I'm about to hit 5,000 subscribers, and I don't even know when I started this, like 3 weeks or a month ago. Like, it's really blown up really, really fast. I did not expect that at all. Hey, do whatever makes you happy, I guess, not for other people. True, that is some very solid advice. So this is a zero-fat diet. Basically, yes, it's a zero-fat diet until you hit Skeleton City, aka your level of leanness that you want to be, and then it's more of like a lowish fat diet. Something very similar to what the Okinawans eat. I really like how zen you are. Thank you, I appreciate it. I don't meditate. I've never really done yoga. I did a hot yoga class one time, and it wasn't for me. But yeah, sugar, it lowers your cortisol, and it gives you a very, zen, cool, calm, collected, aura to you. So I had a job 15 years ago where you would not have said that you liked how zen I was, because I wasn't zen at all. I was running off of like 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep. I didn't know anything about nutrition. I just ate whatever. I was a wreck back then. So without a doubt, sleep and getting enough carbohydrates, sugar, that really can transform like a train wreck type of person into somebody that people now call zen. So it's powerful. Sleep and nutrition, two of the most powerful things in the world. Hot off the press, guys. Get your officially licensed Cole Robinson Snake Diet t-shirts now. Hey Fatty on the front, Anthony, plants are trying to kill ya, Chafee on the back.
Plants are trying to kill ya!
Let the world know that you're not part of the fat acceptance movement, and you take a stand against dad bods around the world. Get yours now at skeletondiet.com. While you're there, consider picking up a Live from Skeleton City shirt or hat as well. Thanks for the support, and back to the show. I appreciate your kindness. Do you ever get headaches? What do you recommend for the carb and fat eating urges? Do you mean like mixing carbs and fat? If that's the case, obviously the answer is like, eat more fruit, eat more volume. I understand like eating more fruit. It's at a certain point, you just don't want more fruit. You want what you're like normally used to, which is like a burger, pizza, lasagna, things like that. So I share my veggie recipe all the time. It's actually not my veggie recipe, it's my wife's veggie recipe, but it's basically like a stir fry she does with vegetables. And to me, that really helps trick my brain into thinking I'm having like Panda Express or like PF Chang's, I always say. So I would suggest making like a savory, salty veggie meal at the end of the night. It's still not going to be, your typical fat, protein, carb, or like your greasy Panda Express. It's not going to be obviously that like decadent and indulgent, but it's going to get pretty close. And in the end, you'll still be losing weight on it. So I think a savory veggie meal at the end of the night is a really good idea. Some people say they stall on it, so you'll have to keep an eye on the scale. And do I ever get headaches? I never get headaches, but I used to get like the gnarliest headaches. Like headaches so bad that I would just lie in bed all day. And what really fixed that for me was starting every morning with a liter of water, staying hydrated, and fruit for breakfast. Making sure I eat fruit for breakfast. I haven't got a headache like that ever since I started doing those two things. So hydration first thing in the morning. I do a liter, somewhere around a liter of water first thing before you eat anything. And then start with, hydrating fresh fruit. Is black tea and coffee okay? I like a hot drink and I mainly like it bitter, but have started adding maple syrup. I did a whole video on why you should take caffeine out of your diet. In a long roundabout way, it could potentially make you undereat, which is not the point of eating this way. And also, caffeine raises cortisol. It stimulates the adrenal glands. It could disrupt your sleep. It's not a good thing to have. I know a lot of people got real mad at me for my caffeine video. They're like, nobody asked you about caffeine. Just tell us what you did to lose fat. Like, I don't care. And to me, like, that obviously shows their like strong caffeine addiction. Caffeine is a very, very strong drug. That's what a lot of people realize. And you know what's funny? I had a friend that I mentioned the negative side effects of caffeine, and he like got all Gollum from Lord of the Rings on me. Like, it's no, it's more like Bilbo when Gandalf tries to take the ring from him. People do not like to hear that their caffeine use is not a healthy thing. It ticks a lot of people off, rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But yeah, in the end though, with that guy that's like, just tell us how you lost the weight. This is how I lost the weight. I lost the weight by following my trifecta of health, which is being lean, having a high VO2 max, and cutting out caffeine and not taking any drugs. So that is how I lost the weight. And that's all I can do is share what I know and share what I know to be true. So, hi, what's your weekly cardio routine? So basically, from when I was really fat, I use a program called Zwift, and it was do a Zwift race every other day, and then take a rest day in between. So basically the Zwift races were anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour, and they were just like face melting, all out, like ride as hard as you can for 30 minutes to an hour. And that was my routine all the way down. Once I started getting less fat, then I started incorporating more like zone 2 rides is what they call it, which is like talking pace. I started doing more like zone 2 or zone 3 rides and kind of just longer rides at that point. But at the beginning, when I was first losing weight, my wife as well, it was every other day, all out for 30 to 60 minutes. But since I started this channel, I put my Strava up. My volume of training has really decreased because I've been so busy, writing you guys back all the time and trying to make new content. My training now is pretty weak compared to what it was prior to this channel. Rules for fat loss success. Carbs and protein or fat and protein. Pick a lane. This is not carbs and fat. It will work. Yeah, I agree. And keto does work for a lot of people until it doesn't work anymore. Again, my trifecta of health, which is being lean, having a high VO2 max, and being drug-free. I've never seen a person that's on keto that's accomplished the trifecta. So that's the difference. So you might be able to get skinny on keto, but will you have a high VO2 max? No, probably not. And will you have a high VO2 max without taking an insane amount of stimulants or caffeine or drugs? That definitely no. But yeah, for the most part, mixing carbs with fat, that is the main issue here. That's what causes insulin resistance. And then people blame the carbs. They say, oh, carbohydrates cause insulin resistance. And then we're over here blaming the fat. No, fat covers the insulin receptors, and then the carbs can't get into the cell, which I do believe to be true. So basically, the keto people blame the carbs, and then the carb people blame the fat. But again, I just follow the trifecta. What do you miss the most? Steak, chicken, burgers? Honestly, burritos. I would say burritos before any of those things. Nachos or burritos. I'm more of like a Mexican food type of guy, even though I'm half Asian. I do miss the rice too. But for like the really greasy foods, I miss a burrito. But from the three things that you name, burger for sure. Burrito and then burger. Kick butt video. Keep up the good work. I don't power bike like you, but can I be as shredded as you on this diet? Thanks. I would say yes. Majority of the people that are eating this way are sedentary and they're losing tons of weight. But maybe you could get within 10 pounds of me. Maybe that last 10 pounds, you would actually need to like raise your VO2 max and actually like burn a lot of fat on the bike. Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, though, I would say you probably could. You could probably do it with no bike. But either way, the trifecta. We all want the trifecta. So you ought to raise your VO2 max anyways, just because it's good for your health and it's one of the longest predictors of lifespan. I would suggest getting on the bike regardless, but you'll probably be able to get very, very great results not even doing any exercise. The people saying that you looked lean in the first picture at 195 pounds are used to seeing the average American at 300 pounds thinking that's normal. Shaking my head. Exactly, kind of like what I said earlier. I'm the outlier here. People don't really look like me. People aren't used to seeing people that look, skinny like me. So yeah, I've had a lot of people be like, bro, you weren't even fat before. Like, I mean, take a look at the picture. I have it up on the whole video. Like, you're going to really try and tell me I wasn't fat? Like, that is a fat dude right there. Like, yeah, of course, there's levels and varying degrees of fat. I get it. But like, you're either like, as far as the BMI goes, like, I was just shy of obese. I mean, come on, that's fat. Do you crave anything like fats? Honestly, no. If anything, I crave rice. Like, the one thing I probably crave the most would be like rice and starch. As far as like fats, I really don't crave fats that much, but that obviously varies person to person. So I just got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Would I be able to do this diet? Well, there's no better diet to reverse type 2 diabetes. Kind of like what I was saying earlier. The fat covers the insulin receptor cell, and then the sugar and carbohydrate can't get into the cell, and that's what causes type 2 diabetes. So take the fat out of the diet and your type 2 diabetes will disappear. It's funny, everyone cares about muscle when it comes to weight loss. Exactly, like you're morbidly obese, but bro, you lost all your muscle. Like, that's all you have to say? Like, dude, focus at the main topic at hand, which is your obesity, you know, your fat. Get rid of that and then worry about the muscle later. Awesome video. Please get your wife to make videos. I'm on day 3 and feel great. This is mind-blowing how easy and fun this is. I will report that to her, and yeah, it's like what I'm saying. It's still a diet. It's still restrictive, but like, it's the best, most fun, most satiating restrictive diet that anybody can be on. So, is juice and fruit satiating? I mean, satiation is kind of a personal question. Is it as satiating as a huge plate of Applebee's nachos? I mean, no. But yeah, I think it's pretty satiating, you know? Especially if you get ripe fruit, add a little sugar to it. I think that's pretty satiating. And it comes down to like that one quote. How's it go? Like, nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. You kind of got to get in that mentality. And then, yeah, fruit, super satiating. Too skinny. Your opinion. After eating fruits and sugar for days, what is better to begin incorporating into dinner meals for continued weight loss? Starch or lean meat? Well, like on the pyramid, you want to start from the top and work your way down. So the answer would be starch, which is tier 2. You're still wanting to get as little amount of protein and fat as possible. And starch does have protein and sometimes fat, but way less than lean meat. So I would go from tier 1 to tier 2 and add starch instead of the lean meat. What's your flexibility level? Not great, probably. I don't do nearly enough stretching. Like I said, I never do yoga. I've done like 1 yoga class in my life. I really should be better about stretching. I don't think it's like terrible, but definitely could be improved on. Let's put it that way. Do you think you can get similar results to this using calorie counting and eating whatever you want? Is the main benefit of this diet for you the high energy from the sugar, as you can get similar results on a different diet? For sure, and again, it comes back to my trifecta of health. Low body fat, high VO2 max, and drug-free, caffeine-free. So could you count calories and just eat McDonald's or whatever? Yeah, you could. Could you get the same results as me? Well, as far as getting skinny, yeah, but would you have amazing cardiovascular performance? No. And could you do that with no caffeine? Maybe. And could you do it with like a great mood and great vitality and great energy all day long? I think no. I think the answer is no. But I know like hundreds of comments that you guys write saying that you guys used to count calories and it was so miserable, and now you come to this way and it's such a like easy and freeing way to lose weight. So yeah, I mean, can you get the same results? No. The answer is honestly no. Fruit and berries contain all vitamins, including B1. I'm not super like hip with knowing like where all the vitamins come from, but if you say that, maybe I'll Google it. I will fact check you in the video, and I'll put up the Google thing and see if you're telling the truth or not. Your transformation is amazing. Good job. Thank you. I'm down 24 pounds in 6 weeks on high carb, zero fat. Progress was good, but when I dropped the starch and protein, I began losing at 2 times the rate. Fruit juice, no noticeable strength loss or muscle loss. 30 pounds to go to get my 6-pack back. Yes, my wife and I share a very similar experience to you. Once we went like strict tier 1 and cut out the protein and the starch, the results were way, way faster. And obviously you do a lot of strength training and you know, I do not, but you're reporting your strength is just as good and you haven't lost any muscle. So for all the people saying, do you lose muscle? You lost all your muscle. Well, apparently this guy didn't. So the quickest 24-minute and 39-second video I've ever seen. Your answers are clear, concise, and very informative. Thank you. You know what I learned is that time is the most precious resource that we all have. And basically, don't waste anybody's time. Keep it short, sweet, simple, to the point. Don't waste people's time because there's a million other people trying to give information. And if you start wasting people's time, they'll just click off and find somebody else that's going to give it to them, you know, more straightforward. You've aged 10 years, man. You know what's funny is I'm 36 and on my Garmin watch, it has like a fitness age that it tells you. And I'm actually almost 10 years younger. It says I'm 28 now. I'm 36. So you claim I've aged 10 years, but I've actually de-aged 10 years according to my Garmin fitness age. So I still have coffee a few times a month, and yeah, 50-50, it's a bad experience. I'm telling you, man, caffeine, it's a crazy drug. I'd be interested in a video about your biking performance. Has Skeleton City status improved your race times? Well, it's increased my VO2 max by like 10 or 15 points, and then it has increased my weight to power ratio like exponentially. So yes, it has improved my cycling times like by a lot, a ton. Being light and thin is the best life. Honestly, it really is. And that's what I say, like, not everybody rides bikes or runs, but even just walking, walking your dog or like going to the park. My son wants to run around at the park and play tag or whatever with his friends. Being light is great. It just feels great. Everything you do, washing some dishes, mopping the floor, everything. Honestly, life is a lot better when you're thin and light. That's my opinion anyway. I love being light. I don't care about being bulky and having a ton of muscle. I like being light. It feels great to me. Great job on losing the weight. This will show you what the human body looks like since most people in the fitness space on social media are on steroids. I am a similar build to you. My question is, what weight did the man boobs go down? 165? 155? Thanks. Yeah, I would say the man boobs, I'd probably say the man boobs went away at 150. Like, they were like the last things, which is ironic because like one of the most self-conscious things were the man boobs and like the double chin. And yeah, the man boobs like didn't want to go away for a long time. They were probably one of the last things to leave before I actually like started looking like thin. And yeah, I would say that was probably around 150 pounds. And my wife and we talk about this story all the time. It's like a running joke. But one time my mom, I had my shirt off for some reason. And she was like, I don't want to be rude, but how come you have so much breast tissue? And we were just like, we looked at each other like, what? Like breast tissue? So the whole way losing weight, I would always like look in the mirror and then ask my wife, like, do I still have breast tissue? And we called the man boobs breast tissue. And it was kind of like a running meme in our house. So yeah, the freaking breast tissue, man, didn't want to go away. I started this 5 days ago, and I swear I haven't had any fats or protein, just the minimal amount that is in rice maybe. I haven't lost a single pound and have been at 179 every morning. I think the starches are holding me back because I've been having oatmeal with sugar for breakfast and white rice at night. Gonna ditch the starches and go straight sugar for a while and see. Yeah, I actually did lose weight eating almost exactly what you're saying. Fruit for breakfast, oatmeal for lunch, and white rice for dinner. But I would be lying if I said I had unlimited amounts of oatmeal and white rice. Like, it was like not the amount of white rice that I truly wanted. And that's probably why I lost weight on that. And then at that point, I was like, I don't even get to eat like the actual amount of rice that I really truly want to eat. So I was like, why don't I just go straight sugar and just ditch the rice altogether? And then, yeah, like I said, the weight loss came way faster that way. And I figured in my head, I'm like, I'll just be strict and cut out the rice. And then once I'm at my goal weight, then I'll be able to actually eat the amount of rice that I truly wanted to eat from the beginning. So I would cut out the starch and see if that lifts the stall and then go from there. Is it compulsory to exercise? No, you don't have to exercise. A lot of people losing weight on this that are sedentary. But again, exercise is very, very good for you, Raising your VO2 max is going to extend your life. While it's not necessary to exercise to lose the weight, I would suggest you doing it regardless. And not only that, you're going to have so much energy from eating all this sugar, you're going to need somewhere to put that energy anyways. So it's like, go take a walk to the park or, do some jumping jacks or go on a bicycle ride or something, Is mushroom actually okay, or are they like starches, should be limited? I have mushrooms most nights. Is there a little more protein in mushroom than, fruit? Yeah, I think there is, but I haven't had any bad experiences with mushrooms. I wouldn't go overboard and like make, an entire meal out of mushrooms, but having mushrooms as like, basically like a condiment or like, a side to your dinner. I haven't seen any negative effects from that. But again, you just got to keep an eye on the scale. If you add the mushrooms in and the scale's stalling, then try and take them out and see if that fixes the problem. Do you think it would be possible for a woman to obtain this visible level of low body fat? It would still be higher, but just visibly in Skeleton City like you, while still eating fruit, sugar, and vegetables to satiety? I mean, is it possible? I don't think that women should get to this level of leanness regardless. It's not good for their hormones, their estrogen, in. Basically, for women, you don't really want to get under like a 19 BMI. And I know BMI doesn't mean everything, but yeah, like as far as my wife, I would never let her get as lean as I did. It just wouldn't be healthy for her. How many months to get like you body? Well, it depends on where you're coming from. I went from 195 to 130 pounds in about 9 months. So I'd have to know what you're coming from. But yeah, I always aim for losing 1% of my body weight per week. That was what I always aimed for. And that's basically what I hit all the way. So, all right, guys, I'm going to cut it here. Like always, leave me a question. I try and write everybody back. And maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones that I pick to put in the video. So thank you as always. And until next time, my friends, stay bony.